Sairam. Sairam. Hope my voice is clear and louder.
Very
Yeah,
clear. Very clear, Suman. Sairam.
Sairam. Sairam. We'll be starting with Omkaram and Sai Gayatri. ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om Shri Sai Ram. My loving Sai Rams to all of you, offering my humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our Sai Ma. I welcome you all for today's session. At the outset, I would like to wish very happy Navaratri, the coming auspicious days from tomorrow. May this Navaratri bring a lot of joy and prosperity in the lives of each and every one of you. May Swami bless each and every one of us bountifully in all walks of life. Professor Anil Kumar always says that it is a prime responsibility of every Sai devotee to know what Bhagawan spoke about each and every festival. We have a lot of festivals, especially in our Bharat. And every festival has a deeper significance, not just the merrymaking or the external rituals, which we generally get attracted to. But there's a lot of profundity behind those rituals, which can make one spiritual. So we need to cognize that significance. So Devi Navaratri or Sharan Navaratri is one of the most important festivals observed. And different regions of subcontinent celebrate it in their own way, in their own unique way. And Dasara has been prominent even in our organization, even in Swami, and Sathya Sai organizations also, or related to Swami. If you can consider from 1940s, you can read a lot of wonderful stories of Vijayamma from Anyatha Sharanam Nasti, how Dasara used to be so wonderful festival, how there used to be wonderful procession, the entire party, a lot of kumkumarchana and all that they used to do, all the ladies especially. So for devotees, yeah, it is an occasion to adore Swami as a divine mother principle, especially during these 9 days. Yes, we worship him. So we worship his matchless divine persona, no doubt about it. So why do we worship, basically? If it is to please Swami, if we worship to please Swami, then we need to question ourselves. Isn't it important to worship him in the manner that pleases him, or to worship him in the manner that pleases us? What exactly he expects from us? We have our own, thoughts, we have our own desires in celebrating every ritual or every, the way we worship. But Bhagavan has certain expectation. Are we meeting those expectations in these celebrations? Or at least we are trying to know what is there in his heart. He gave numerous discourses, and every time, if you look at one discourse itself, I think the kind of gamut of topics that we can discuss is numerous. As Professor Anil Kumar says, there's no topic under the sun which he hadn't covered. If you look at Sai literature, it's like complete encyclopedia. It's something like a Google, where you can find answers to almost all the topics if you really get into. And every time you read the same discourse, or every time you read the same book, you'd have a different perspective. Bhagwan would inspire a different side of us to understand the same. It can be the same sentence, it can be the same one-liner, but the way we look at it, the way we comprehend, every time would be different. That's a beauty. So as I earlier said, like Bhagwan's discourse always starts with a crispy starter called Padyam, a poem, where the entire essence of the entire discourse would be embedded in that crispy poem. And after that, there would be quite a widespread, the discourse, the kind of topics he covers. It's quite a widespread, actually. A lot of satisfying the palate of every listener, every devotee in the hall, or maybe later even if someone listens also, it would satisfy him also. So that kind of widespread, probably even the host who can arrange a lavish dinner also cannot serve so many dishes, so many, especially satisfying the palate of each and every one. It's impossible. And ends with a beautiful, and deserts called bhajans. So if you just take one discourse of Swami, it would be like one satsang of us would not be sufficient, because a lot of topics would be there. So I had to choose subtopics from numerous lectures and numerous discourses he gave, especially on the occasion of Navaratri. I thought of 3 concepts which he touched upon as a part of Navaratri discourses to present in front of you, and later we can have a wonderful discussion out of these topics. The way we understood, the way our perspectives are about all these things. So the main I thought for today's presentation or discussion, we can have these 3 subtopics related to the Navaratri, especially the principle of motherhood, which Swami spoke at length in many discourses related to Navaratri, the worship of nature, Mother Nature. The third and most important one is purity of thought, word, and deed. All 3 related to Navaratri. It's not that they are away from Navaratri. Yeah, it's motherly principle, definitely. That is very obvious. But yeah, purity of thought, word, and deed. Yes, it is also very much related to Navaratri. Time and again, Bhagavan expounded that everyone should consider one's mother as divine and serve her regardless of one's country or circumstance. Bhagavan says maternal love is akin to that of a creator who projects and protects this infinite cosmos in countless ways. Bhagavan says this maternal love of creator is experienced by man on a daily basis. It is not that this principle of motherhood is so permeated, it's so much evident in man's life that it is in his daily life he can experience. So Bhagavan mainly chooses the 5 channels, I can say, where the maternal love of the creator is. The very first thing is our biological mother, the first basic channel through which we are experiencing the love of the Almighty. That is one basic channel. Then Swami gives various other important channels through which the maternal love of God we are experiencing. So, every day morning when we get up, we want milk or a cup of coffee or a tea. Where does that milk come from? It comes from a cow or a buffalo. Cow, yeah, cow has been given a specific or a prominent, paramount place in our scriptures also. But some of us, some may ask, okay, cow, I drink buffalo's milk. Anything is, even if you look at the affection, when they describe the affection of Mata, when they describe the affection of Lakshmi, they describe her as Mahishi. Mahishi means buffalo, she buffalo. Because the affection of a buffalo is much more than a cow. That's why she is compared, especially in her affection, to a Mahishi. So, whether it is a cow or a buffalo, yeah, that is again that the motherly principle is coming through us. So, milk we consume. The first example Swami gives is the cow. Because these are the things which we take for granted, right? No, right from the morning we are experiencing, and how grateful we should be to each and every one of them. Then Swami gives Mother Earth. So we step down from this thing is on Mother Earth only, no? Like the divine earth bears man in her bosom, takes care of him in many ways. What not, she doesn't provide. Everything, whatever is required, right from womb to tomb, she only provides us. And how much gratitude are we paying to her? And Swami says in the human body, the divine flows through all the limbs as a rasa. Rasa means juice, rasa, essence, you can call. The divine essence that sustains each and every the limb. So there are presiding deities in the body itself. And this divine principle, Bhagavan says, is rasa swarupini, the embodiment of that sweetness. The same, Swami says, it has another name called Angirasa. So these divine principles that permeate and sustain the physical body should also be worshipped as mother goddesses. So these are the deities within us, which we may not see with our eyes, but we can experience. Our very existence is because of that. Next, Swami gives or quotes about Maharshis, because great sages. So what all the great knowledge we have today, the scriptures, whatever scripture you take, whether it is Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, all are thanks to the great sages. Any Puranams, Upanishads. So they have investigated the matters related to not only the spiritual, but also the mundane, even the mundane aspects, how to conduct ourselves within the society. What are the things, the do's and don'ts? What are the right, what is right and wrong? What elevates you and what degrades you? Everything has been wonderfully explained by the sages. So Bhagavan says, the sages also should be worshipped as mother. Next is our Guru himself, the mother. And they all of them play a sort of protective role. They sustain this maternal role. Cow protects, you see what all that we get the product from cow. Everything is of protection only, not only milk, even other products also that we get from cow. Everything has a protective nature. And Bhagavan even says, all these elements, even if you look at the 5 mothers which always Bhagavan spoke about, Dehamata, our biological mother, Gomata, Bhumata, the earth and the cow, Deshamata, the country, and Vedamata. Again, if you look at the sages and the Guru, they all can. So all the 5 mothers shared everything we can fit in here, all these 5 channels of maternal love. And Bhagavan says all the attributes of all these 5 are present in a biological mother. If you look at our own mother, so all these attributes are there. She nourishes the child and she provides everything for our growth. Teaches, especially, they say mother is the first guru. She teaches us what is right and what is wrong. What is that to be, we should know, and what we should not know, what we should avoid. And that puts us on the path of righteousness. Bhagavan says, if you look at the, we actually adore Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, these forms as a part of these 9 days, right? So Durga, what does she represent? She represents the physical energy, the mental energy, the spiritual energy, the energy. The Lakshmi, she bestows the wealth, whether it's intellectual wealth or wealth of character, a wealth of health, many untold riches she is going to bestow. It's not just money. We pray Lakshmi for only money. But even the other day we even thought that how she shows us the way. Pada Seva. She is the first example in our Navavidha Bhakti for Pada Seva. She's always at the feet of the Lord. So what does it signify? Does it convey the meaning that Lord is having a continuous pain of a leg? Does he require that pressing? No. What does it mean? You just remember, she is at the feet, but where actually she resides? She resides in his heart. What does it mean? If you follow his footsteps, he'll keep you in his heart. That's what it is symbolic. That's what she teaches us. That's what she followed his footstep in every avatar. So that is the wealth she is bestowing upon us. She's showing us the way. You follow this way, and that's how you can win his heart. Saraswati, intelligence, the intellectual inquiry that we do, the power of discernment, the power of discrimination that we have. All these 3 aspects are very much within. All these aspects are within us. Swami says, you need not separately adore. All these come to you through your mother. So if you adore your mother, if you worship your mother sincerely, that is enough. That is what actually I expect from you. And Bhagavan gives various examples, especially in adoring the principles. Even if you look at Swami himself, if you take any avatar, his Janma Bhumi and Karma Bhumi were always different. Krishna was born in Mathura, but all the while he was doing Vrindavan, and he was there in Dwaraka most of the time, and his Karma Bhumis were different. Rama was born in Ayodhya. Yeah, he stayed in Ayodhya, but yeah, most of his works were almost 3,000 kilometers away from that. For all different places he covered, right? So, this uniqueness of Bhagavan's avatar is his Janma Bhumi and Karma Bhumi are the same. Why? Because he gave word to his mother. That's the importance. He always spoke his mother tongue. He never spoke in another language. He knew each and every language. You can ask Anil Kumar sir. It's just he graced that opportunity to translate. But he chose to speak because to show us how we need to revere our mother. And whatever the projects you see, whether it is a hospital or water projects or education, all these are wishes of his mother. And he even tells, the mother is so much protective that even after she leaves her physical body, she would be protecting you. That's the mother. That's the power of the motherhood. Bhagavan used to tell the brothers Satyajit and other brothers who used to be with him in his chambers, inner chambers, that Grihamamai has come now and she warned me. You just easily roam amongst the devotees. You don't know, everyone doesn't come with good intentions. You don't take hankies from everyone. You simply take, don't sniff. They try to put some poisonous scents. Don't sniff. Like that, she used to warn even after she left her body. Swami says, not only my mother, every mother has that. Every mother comes like that. Every mother protects the children like that. And Bhagavan gives examples from our epics, basically. Swami says, why Krishna, why Pandavas could become so close to Krishna? Because of the blessings of Kunti, because of the love Kunti had for them, and they had reciprocated same love to their mother. They could attract Krishna. And Bhagavan takes example of Lakshmana. Only because of her blessings, only because of the blessings of his mother, Sumitra, he could serve Rama for 14 years in forest. He had no food and no sleep. That's what Swami says. And that was the blessing of his mother. She said that Rama is not here, so Ayodhya is as good as forest. So you go to the forest, that becomes Ayodhya. You be with Rama. You serve Rama. So that's the power of a mother's blessing Bhagavan gives from Ramayana. Even Bhagavan gives one more example of where Gandhari blames Krishna, unable to bear the death of her all sons, the destruction that happened to her sons. She blames Krishna. Oh, why were you so partial? Why were you so partial to Pandavas? And Krishna says, no, your children are most unfortunate ones because the loving glance of mother did not fall on them. If mother's glance only does not fall on them, how can a God's glance fall on them? How can God's eyes fall on them? She was always blindfolded. You never saw even one of your children with loving eyes because of you're always closed. So your attention, they could not grab your attention. So how can they grab my attention? So that's the paramount importance he gave to the mother. And Swami says even the Lavakusha became victorious over Rama because they had blessing of Sita. She imparted all the skills and the courage. That's the power of this motherlyhood. Not only that, Bhagavan even quoted many times examples from famous personalities. Many times Bhagavan quoted Lincoln. Especially Lincoln was bullied. Lincoln was ill-treated at the school. He used to lose courage. That's when his mother used to instill courage in him. And that's when he becomes such a great personality. Many times Bhagavan quoted in his discourses. Even mother of Thomas Alva Edison, he was declared as an adult child, mentally not a balanced child. So he was expelled. That's when his mother defends him. She teaches him everything at home, and he becomes all-time the greatest inventor. That's the power of mother's love. That's the power of mother's blessing. So we have seen not only from the yester times, also the modern times, where we have seen these personalities, how they have grown. Many examples Bhagawan gave. Bhagawan used to give Gandhiji's example, how she instilled courage in Gandhiji. Even Shivaji's example. Like many, many examples Bhagawan used to give. And what I'm reminded of many experiences when it comes to the mother, where he took a place of a mother, where he gave importance to wishes of a mother, where he gave utmost importance to service to a mother. I'm reminded of an experience which Bhagwan, it seems. I mean, no, I was told this experience by a brother who was there at one of the Trai sessions. So this was the experience described by Bhagwan himself. So it was an experience from, I think, that happened maybe in late 80s or early 80s, I don't know. So actor Rajnikant, we have the famous film actor we know. So he was devotee of Swami, has been coming to Swami from 80s. And during one of his visits, he's accompanied with a friend. The friend never wanted to come because he never believed in God. But out of his love for his friend, he persuaded him and brought him to Parthi. The friend was not interested in anything. He never had any respect for these godly or godmen. So Bhagavan calls them for interview. So as we know the process, when Bhagavan calls, when he comes to darshan, he'll pick up okay, you want to go inside. So like that, all the devotees would go and gather the portico. Sometimes, when Swami would say everyone would go inside, so everyone would go. And finally, Bhagavan would go and he closes the door. So that is a procedure generally. So Bhagavan called both of them, Rajnikant and his friend, the interview. And he finished his darshan and came. And these were actually asked to go inside the interview room. When Bhagavan went inside, they were already inside. Rajnikant was sitting down on the floor, whereas his friend was sitting on Bhagavan's throne. So Bhagavan simply with a smile just asked, Rajnikant was into so much of tension, he was actually sobbing what to say. That friend is not heedless. No, he is heedless to his persuasion. He was not listening to him. And he couldn't do anything. So Bhagavan said, bring a chair from the inner interview room. There will be inner chamber again. So he brought a chair. So the friend was sitting on the throne, even in front of Swami. Bhagavan was sitting on a normal chair and Rajnikant was sitting down. So that was the scene. And he was profusely in tears. Rajnikant was profusely in tears. Swami, I don't know how to convey my apologies or what. I don't know. I don't have words for what I have done, this grave sin. I brought a person, he never wanted to come. I persuaded, and this is what is happening, an insult to you. Bhagavan says, Rajni, why you are so worried? What you can see, you cannot see, I can see. So do you think he would have sat on my throne without my will, without my permission? Can anything happen without God's will? Can a blade of grass move without God's will? Nothing like that, no? then how could he sit on my throne? That's what your question is. Don't worry. He has the greatest qualification to sit on my throne. Your friend served his ailing mother, a bedridden mother, for many years till her death. With a lot of love. Not even one day he was harsh to her. He was a great son who meticulously took care of her. What greater qualification does anyone require to have a place on my throne? Can there be a greater qualification than this? Bhagavan question. Rajnikant was speechless. That importance, that's the power of the service to mother Bhagavan gave, the place which Bhagavan gave to service to mother. This is what his expectation is from each and every one of us. It's not just that external, whatever that pomp and show we do, or the pujas we have done, or how many kumkumarchanas we have done. Not that how much you have taken care of your parents, how much you have taken care of your mother. If that's where we are lacking, or there we are, we didn't pass, or we don't have any pass marks also, definitely he's not going to grace us, right? One more experience I'm reminded of is once described by Professor Anil Kumar. That was during one of the visits of, I think, Kodai. Yeah. So Bhagavan was materializing, for everyone. So, but there was a particular attention was being given, a special attention, would say, he says, that was given to a boy. Bhagavan materialized a ring for him one day, a pair of earrings one day, and one more day, one more pair of earrings. Many things, day after day. And Professor Anil Kumar was thinking, what, this entire trip is meant for him or what? He was having his own questions. So Bhagavan one day in a discourse, he clarified, many of you are thinking that why I'm giving a special attention to this boy. This boy is from Kerala. He lost his mother. From that day, he never smiled. He sits in a corner and cries, weeps, sobs profusely. He doesn't share his sorrow with anyone. He had two elder sisters, and his mother had a desire to gift a pair of golden earrings to her daughters. And before that could fructify, she died. Now I am their mother. That's why I'm fulfilling her wishes. Even his father was into depression after her death. I called him, spoke to him, even attempted to take off his life. So I took a word from him that he would not do any such thing in future. I gave a blessing that I'm going to take care of everything. That's when, after so many years, this boy started smiling. I could see a smile on his face. So that's the motherly love. No, he took the place of a mother. As we know, even a biological mother or any mother like this cow, earth, and all these things, these are various channels for us to experience Bhagwan's immense love, the Creator's immense love. So how much we adore that motherly principle, whether it is in our biological mother or in and around whatever the channels Bhagwan presented us, how much we are adoring them. We take them for granted. We'll understand them only when they're taken out of in our life. Those channels are withdrawn. That's when we understand. Next important concept which Bhagavan touched upon is worship of nature. Because we call Mother Nature, right? Mother Earth or Mother Nature. What all she does not provide us? Is there any end for whatever that we are enjoying today? Even right now, we're having satsang because she is gracing us without any kind of disturbances. So Bhagavan gives a wonderful concepts like, no? We all remember Bhagavan always said, I separated myself from myself to love myself. So that has been expounded by Upanishads as from Akshara Brahman came Kshara Brahman. Means from that formless absolute, unmanifest absolute, came this visible universe. He came, he just became a replica of his own, and he permeated in each and every atom of this universe. Whether it is an ant or an elephant, from an ant to an elephant, everything he is permeated, he's embedded himself. That is called Kshara Brahman. Akshara Brahman is that unmanifest, formless aspect, whereas Kshara Brahman is where he has taken every form. Each and every form that we see is his. The same thing has been explained in Bhagavad Gita. So Purushottama and Purusha. Purushottama is that absolute, unmanifest, formless, and Purusha is this which is embedded in each and every atom of the visible universe, of this entire universe. And for that, he himself again divided into two, Prakriti and Paramatma, energy and consciousness. That's what we require. Energy, sentient energy, insentient energy, and consciousness, which is Paramatma. That's what Swami says, Prakriti and Paramatma. So they are like, Swami says, Prakriti and Paramatma, there should be two things, no, to fructify in this earth. One is Purusha Prayatnam and Daivanugraham. Swami says, taking care of Prakriti, adoring Prakriti, worshipping Prakriti is Purusha Prayatnam. And next comes my grace, the Daivanugraham. So who is all powerful? So he considers them to be, actually there is no gender, like no a female or a male. We had to give because out of the union of female and male, the creation happens. That's why we gave those forms or genders to these. Otherwise, they are intangible energies, the consciousness and the energy aspect. Where Swami says that one is a positive and other is negative, positive charge, negative charge, something like that. Out of that comes the creation or energy. So without nature, Prakriti, there would be no creation. Creation is only there, not there. So the basis for whole is the nature. Swami always says, take, for example, there are seeds in your hands which are very sweet and nectarine. They're very powerful seeds. But only when you sow them in the ground, they would become trees and they would in turn bear fruits, right? So on the other hand, if you do not sow the seeds and keep them in your hands, what is the use? So if you want the seeds to bear the fruits in future, we should sow them in the ground. So it is earth which makes the seed grow into a tree and later on bear the fruits. So for all the existence, earth is the basis. So if a man has to remove his ignorance, he has to worship the nature. You should worship the nature and receive the grace of Lord. One more thing Swami is to say, yes, you need to worship nature, but not nature alone. You should not crave nature alone. You should always crave for the grace of God also. Bhagavan gives a wonderful example. For anything to be successful, one needs both human effort and divine grace. And that is why it is most essential to worship nature, a practice which is part of ancient cultures. Yes, ancient cultures from our ancestors, we have been worshipping nature across different countries. Upanishads adored God as that Purushottama, that formless aspect, which was not so easy for normal folk to relate. That's why ancestors gave. God is not that so far from you. He's right. He's in everything which that is visible to you. That's how this entire universe is. So start worshipping this nature. That's how that has come into the reverential attitude came towards nature. So how is this worship of nature related to the divine mothers? What is the relationship between the Devis and this Prakriti? Then Swami comes with the three gunas which the Prakriti has, the nature has. The Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Sattva is Saraswati, Rajas is Lakshmi and Tamas is Parvati, Shakti. So these three aspects you are adoring. You are adoring these aspects which are there within you also and within the nature itself to get control over the nature and receive grace from the nature. That's why. Sorry. Everyone, I want everyone to be on mute, please. So these are not goddesses, but deified symbols of these qualities. They represent these qualities. So the Prakriti made of these three qualities, and the worship of this Prakriti is the very purpose of human life. So if we have understood that, okay, these are the three gunas, those representing these three goddesses. So is it enough if we offer the ritualistic worship alone? Or there is more something subtle to this? Is there any subtler thing to this Devi Puja that we do? Swami says to receive permission, which we call in Telugu as Anumati. To receive Anumati from nature, we need to have grace of the Lord, that is Anugraha. So if we forget the grace of God and want to experience and benefit from nature alone, our lives will become like that of Ravana. So Swami wonderfully, because Ravana only prayed for Sita. So we are going to ruin our lives if you're trying to benefit from nature alone with discarding the aspect of God, discarding the aspect of divinity in nature. That's when we are going to perish ourselves, our own life. Just like Ravana, example is Ravana. That's what most of us doing. We are forgetting the divinity aspect in nature. That's why we are actually going to exploit nature to the large extent. We are polluting the nature, misusing the nature, misusing all the resources, whether it's a power or a water or a food, the kind of things that we are doing today, misusing every aspect of nature, thinking that that means we are discarding the element of divinity in that. And that bound to die, so that we are bound to perish if we follow the same path because of the excessive desires in man. Today is leading to all sorts of pollution. Because of the thirst for money, today we are interconnected. We are not interconnected out of need. We have got interconnected out of greed. The kind of things, for the growth today, in the name of growth, what not we are doing today. What not the countries are doing. They want to compete with another country where 80% of people are already sick. They would die. I don't know. These countries are looking for growth. So what sort of growth actually we are looking for? If no one is there, what does that, what actually is the value of that growth? So we need to think about it. How far we are I would say responsible towards the nature, even our daily life itself. Probably I can talk volumes about conservation of water and take 5 times bath. Am I the same way? Am I called? That's what Swami says, no? Unity of thought, word, and deed. That's the next topic which we are coming. Even conserving a little, whatever that is possible from us in our daily life, is also a sort of worship towards nature. This reminds me of that Anil Kumar says that humorous experience. Once he comes to darshan without taking bath, he would switch on the heater, and later he would realize that there was no power. That's when he just will have a normal sponge bath. And he comes wonderfully, he dresses, as we all know, beautifully. He's a dress fancy person, and he has a beautiful safari suit. He would come and sit in darshan. And Bhagavan would directly come to him that day. Say, some people come to darshan without taking bath. And Swami just he gives an expression as if it is stinking, some kind of stinky expression he would give. Some people come to darshan without taking bath. Anil Kumar sir says, no, Swami, you know and I know. Why should others know? There are many ardent devotees waiting for you. Better you proceed. Don't waste time with me. So he was able to tell. So Bhagwan would smile and go. Then those days there used to be gap between darshan and bhajan. Swami would go for interviews, and there would be a gap of maybe a half an hour, 1 hour. Swami would finish interviews, and then bhajans would happen. So in that gap, he went and he had 2 buckets full of water, bath, and then he came. And now he's looking for Swami to come and appreciate him, praise him for that. Then Swami came, to his expectations, Swami came. But Swami said, normal bath is enough, sir. You wasted 2 buckets. 6 months are enough. 6 months are enough for bath. You wasted 2 buckets. Anil Kumar said, whatever I do, you have a problem. That's what he was bold enough to say to Swami. But here, if you say there's an enlightenment and entertainment also, here also is a message that Swami says, conserve whatever it's given to you. It's not because it is available to us, because it's easily available to us today. That's why we are not able to recognize the value of it. The day when it becomes dearth, it becomes scarce, that's when we are able to realize even the greatest. There are no greater blessings. No, if everything is so available, I have food, I have water, I'm able to walk, I'm able to see. These are the greatest blessings. Why should I crave for greater things? That's when we'll understand. So that day I was listening to our Venkatraman sir, who was the former head of Radio Sai, former director of Radio Sai. So how towards growth, till 70s, it was not so maniac, and later people started thinking how to grow, how to make money out of thin air, money out of money, not from any source. And especially that's when he says the so-called finance industry manifested. Till then, there was no finance industry. There were only automobile industry or film industry or something like that, but there was no finance industry. But later, it seems finance industry came into picture when people started doing that out of thin air. He gives a numerous story in that regard. So there was a man by name Joe. So he wanted to make money. So he just it happened in US or something. This particular background is in US. So he takes a donkey and he calls for bidders. This donkey available for $20. So everyone would come, and finally one bidder, one person by name Tom, he would negotiate, and finally for $20 or some sort he buys. And he goes that, okay, you keep it with you. I'm on a travel. So on the way back home, I would take it again. I'll come maybe a couple of days later, and you keep it. He says, okay, he pays the money and he goes. And by the time he returns, we would find that the donkey is dead. The Joe would say, the donkey is dead. He says, give back my money. No, that is your donkey. I have insisted to take it with you. You didn't take it. Now it is dead. What can I do now? I cannot give back the money. And he says, okay, give that dead donkey only. What are you going to do with the dead donkey? You just give, because it's my donkey anyway, whether it's living or dead, it's mine, so give it to me. So like that, Tom takes the dead donkey only. And then he announces, donkey available, donkey worth $20 is available for $2. If you just pay $2, whoever wins the lottery, I'm going to take a lottery. So whoever wins the lottery is going to get that donkey. So there would be 500 of people would gather and they would pay. $2. And there would be, a lottery would be taken. Some Smith gets the chance, and Smith would be called, and the rest of others would leave. And Smith would be shown, this is the donkey. Again, the argues, give back my money. What has happened? How can I take a dead donkey? Okay, you want your money back? Okay, he gives the $2 back. And the rest of the $998 is his. So that's how he makes money out of nothing, out of the dead donkey. So today, the thirst for money has grown. He says that that's how that industry has come out of nothing, how to make. No, the thirst for that this thing has gone to a height that we are not focusing on the subtler aspects of nature, how it is related, and we have experienced now the fury of Mother Nature. I think in a much harsher way. I think this is the high time to realize for us how we should take care of nature without any exploitation. Where to draw the line, the growth as well as because they say always for growth cannot happen without exploitation or without certain things. But yes, there has to be certain line, as Swami says, if you crave nature alone, you're bound to perish like Ravana. So you need to somewhere have that God-fearing nature, or that aspect where, okay, I'm drawing a line, enough of. Gandhiji always said, Seth has everything for everyone's need, but not even for one man's greed. So it won't be sufficient if we are going in that path. Then Bhagawan, in one of the discourses, he spoke about that is all about the nature, keeping the nature safe, keeping the nature is more of external purity. And then he spoke about the unity of thought, word, and deed, the inner purity. Swami always said the purity of human being alone would attract grace of God. One should have that harmony, the purity of thought, word, and deed. Not like say something and do something and have different thought. Again, he compares all the three goddesses, these three forms which we adore. Lakshmi, who is the embodiment of all prosperity, is represented by the heart. The spoken word, the word aspect is represented by Saraswati. And the action is represented by Durga. So our thoughts, word, and deed, thoughts, the Lakshmi, our words is the aspect of Saraswati, and the action, the deeds which we do, is the aspect of Durga Ma. That's it. How to have the harmony of these three aspects. How to achieve that inner purity. We need to crave for that. Swami always used to give importance to people who used to have the unity of thought, word, and deed. They may not be great in any sadhana or something. If we don't achieve, this is the basic. And it's not that, okay, our words and deeds are fine, but thoughts are of not a good quality. It's just like getting 90% in maths and science and 20% in English, still you're fail. So even if one of these things we are going to fail, we have failed. That's it. So in thoughts, we should be good. In words, we should be good, and deeds. All three should be fine, in line. Swami says, no, these are like trikaranas. Trikarana shuddhi, trikaranas. That's what Swami says. When there is beauty in your thoughts, words, and deeds, that is nothing but Tripura Sundari. There is something called Tripura Sundari. No, these are all things. Swami says subtly. What is Tripura Sundari? When there is beauty in your thought, beauty in your words, and beauty in your actions, that is what it is, Tripura Sundari. That is what is actual worship that you do. Not just an external worship to Tripura Sundari. So Swami began exhorting, like this. You should have external and internal purity, both. So Navaratri signifies worshipping nature and protecting all that is given to us. And we should not waste or misuse things. And he gives a wonderful interconnectivity also between the two, the external purity and the internal purity. He says the smoke depends upon the type of fire, and the cloud depends upon the type of smoke. The rain depends upon the type of cloud, and the crop depends upon the type of rain. As is the crop, so is the food. So as is the food, so is the buddhi, so is the intellect. So our thoughts depend upon what we eat. So if we keep the external thing clean, that's when we are going to get the good crop, good food, and that's when we are going to get good thoughts. So these are interrelated. The external things, how we are going to take care of the nature, to what kind of purity that we can gain within, these are interrelated. So our thoughts depend upon what we eat. Our food depends on rain, rain instead depends upon cloud. So the cloud depends upon the type of air. So that's why Swami says, no, even that is the reason I recommended bhajan and nagar sankirtan for you, so that you can purify to certain extent whatever that you're polluting. So when we chant that name of the Lord, that's why he always stressed, always emphasized on namasmarana, that these vibrations would spread around. They're going to annihilate all these negative energies. That's why he insisted on Rudram, especially because very clearly that time he said that it would create some invisible weapons that would kill all the negative energies. So these are the three aspects today I want to discuss in brief. This is There are many aspects, many concepts Bhagavan touched upon in these discourses of Navaratri. If we take up, I think Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Gnana Shakti, it's quite a very humongous topics. So for today, I think I'll stop it here. These three related important aspects, so that we can have a fruitful discussion now. So I close my talk here today. Sairam. It's open for discussion. Any questions or aspects or perspectives? Yes, sir. Sairam.
Sairam, before we start the discussion, can you just tell the last thing again? Smoke depends on fire. I just want to catch it again.
Yes. The smoke depends upon the type of fire. The cloud depends upon the type of smoke. The rain depends upon the type of cloud. And the crop depends upon the type of rain. As is the crop, so is the food. As is the food, so is the intellect or buddhi. So our thoughts depend upon what we eat. Our food depends upon the rain. Rain instead depends upon the cloud. The cloud depends upon the type of air. So that is the reason for asking all of you to do Nagar Sankirtan and Bhajan. What is the significance behind this? When we chant the name of the Lord, the good vibrations would spread around and clean up the atmosphere. That is it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks. Now it's open for discussion. So any inputs or thoughts? We can have much more fruitful discussion on these topics, whatever that we covered. Maybe growth and the protection of nature. Where to draw the line? Probably that is one of the topics. How to balance between the two. Or any other questions or thoughts you have? Amarnath sir, any thoughts or inputs or anything? Anything that triggers you?
Just more time, some more time. Let me. I'm just
sure, sir.
waiting.
Parikshit brother, any thoughts are coming?
Yeah, yes, Suman, Sairam. Thank you for that elaborate. Given what Swami has spoken, you have condensed it into these three categories. So very well articulated. 2, 3 thoughts. One is on this entire aspect of the three gunas, and what Swami is saying here is very important. Is that, as you mentioned, that Saraswati represents Sattva Guna, Lakshmi represents Rajo, and Parvati Tamo. And Swami, again in that discourse, says that they are not goddesses but defied symbols of the three qualities, right?
Yes,
so if we probe deeper into this, so if we use Seva as an example, right, to understand this better. Now, in I think the same discourse, I don't remember is this the other discourse, Swami explains this part of with an example of seva or charity, and he says that gifts made with one with the only reason of receiving grace of Swami is sattvic, gifts made with expecting something in return like fame and publicity and power, or made under pressure because you have to do it, is rajasic. And
Yes.
charity done um, charity done wastefully, without any benefit, where it's not required, is tamasic, right?
Okay.
So this was one thought, and connected to this in Gita Vaini, actually, Swami talks about this aspect of, as you explained, right, Prakriti and nature is all about what we are talking about Navaratri. And the entire idea here is to go beyond nature. So in Gita Vaini, where there is this chapter in the Gita called Kshetra Shretagna Vibha, I think Vibhaga Yoga, basically understanding the difference between Kshetra, which is the body, or Prakriti, and Kshetragnya, which is the knower of the body, the witness, right? In that context, Arjuna actually asked this question to Sai Krishna, where he asked this question, and this connected to the three gunas. And I felt this was very important when we'd gone through Gita series. And here, in this context, when you talk about the three gunas, I felt it's important. Where Arjuna uh, asked this question, that who experiences this kind of grief and bliss? Is it the soul or the body? Right? And that's where Krishna Swami replies that the Kshetra or Prakriti or this body is associated with the three attributes, that is, which you
Yeah.
said, the three gunas.
Yeah.
And when the soul or the Kshetragnya or the Chaitanya in us comes in contact with the body, is that's when we experience the grief or joy, right? And it is similar to, again, Swami gives the example of iron coming in contact with fire. So what I felt was, once you understand Prakriti and go beyond Prakriti to understand our true nature, right? That is when we understand our true nature. And what better than Swami to tell us that the gunas is what leads us to this cycle of birth and death and whatever we are going through. And the entire idea is to go beyond actually the apara prakriti, right? And go to the higher nature, using the instrument of our viveka and the chaitanya in us. So I think when we talk about Navaratri, the entire idea is to achieve that Tripura Sundari, which you explained, right? The triple purity,
Yeah.
and understand the lower impulses, that is apara prakriti, and go into this higher nature using whatever we have been told, right? How to overcome even the sattva quality finally, but we are not there till now. But I felt that was really powerful. Yeah. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Thank you. Is there any inputs or thoughts on any aspect, any perspective?
One of the things which I remember is about the motherland, the mother tongue,
Yeah.
mother culture to which you belong to. As much as you revere the mother, you revere the land to which you are born.
Yes.
Swami gives the example of Rama crowning Vibhishana, and then does not accept the kingdom of Lanka after the annihilation of Ravana. That is because he values his own motherland greater than anything else. Is something which comes to my mind.
Yeah, Janani Janma Bhumishya Swargadapi Gariyasi. That's what he says.
And similarly, our mother tongue, and you beautifully pointed out that Swami always spoke in his mother tongue. And though he knew all the languages, he would allow the translator to do the rest. And the Sanatana Dharma to which we belong. often when we get lost from our roots, that's when we go astray and we are lost. And when you refocus on these, you collect yourself back to where you belong. Something which crossed my mind. Sairam. Yeah.
How to, I mean, now, no, because nowadays we are running for growth as well as even this pollution of nature. So how to balance between the two? I think this, any thoughts? Maybe we are craving, we are in the line of Ravana, maybe craving only Prakriti, avoiding Bhagawan, avoiding the Paramatma part behind. Because everyone won't subscribe to this idea that no, I am born and my whole journey is to be, to merge in the source. Everyone is in the various levels of spiritual evolution. So how to create this atmosphere? Otherwise, we are all going to perish together. COVID has given a wonderful.
And the emphasis on today's topic being nature, is it not?
Yeah.
Principle of motherhood, worship of Mother Nature, and incidentally, purity of thought, word, and deed. Somewhere I have read that nature is a great teacher in herself, and Swami has often said or quoted examples like a mango tree gives fruits, does not expect anything. The sun gives light and does not take back anything. It's only the human tendency to expect something or the other as a return, recognition, identity, and things like that. So, yeah, the Tyaga Tattvam also is extremely important. And also, what did I give back? I think you spoke about one or two international entities like Lincoln, Edison, and all that.
Yeah.
One of them said, one of the presidents of the US, I think, have you ever thought of what you gave the country instead of asking what I get out of the country? Is again, if the half glass of water is half full or half empty, it's our perspective which really matters. Instead of always going on expecting and exploiting the nature, like conservation, tree plantation, water harvesting, these are the things which we need to, because we need to give the next generation a worthwhile place to live as much as our ancestors gave us. Can we at least give the same thing to our children and later? It's a big question. So the attitude of giving must come. All of us are go-getters. How many of us are go-givers is something worth pondering. Sairam.
Thanks. Parishita, any thoughts on this?
Yes. So on this subject, entire thing of climate change, right? In that same discourse, Swami talks, and you spoke about development and growth, and so we came as in, I think that was in 2015 or something like that. The United Nations, they came up with this SDG concept called Sustainable Development Goals. And today, when you look at that, they said by 2030 we will wipe out a lot of things, right? Poverty and a lot of stuff, access to universal healthcare and so on. But today, when you look back, we are nowhere close to that. But Swami always said this, that development should be um, in the common interest to promote the welfare of all, right?
Yeah.
So today, actually, the world is realizing, and people who said that there's nothing like climate change and the nature is all okay. Today, everyone knows, right? Even in developing nations or developed countries know And as you said, that point on everything is connected, right? So even if China is polluting, or US is doing, or India is running coal-fired plants, it is impacting everyone anywhere, right? And most importantly, in this entire debate of climate change and how we are actually polluting the environment, the most marginalized and vulnerable populations, right? Think about the small and marginal farmer, or somebody in the uh, um, coastal lands, right, in Mumbai or somewhere in Tamil Nadu. They are getting hit hard very badly because of the actions of whom they are no way connected with, right?
Correct.
So the world is talking about that today, though we don't see money flowing. So all the money, so I work in this area, like one of our focus areas, the organization I work with is on climate and sustainability. And what we are seeing in India is that all the money in climate goes into electric vehicles, right? So that's a new fancy. Though all the materials which are used in a lithium ion battery are sourced from China and rare earths, which is not sustainable. So the point what I'm trying to say is that Swami had warned this long back, and what we need to battle here is also misinformation, right? The convenient philosophy tactic, which even we are susceptible to, wherein India as a country is today saying that we will be what is called in climate terms as net zero by 2070, that is 50 years later. But we cannot say that, okay, US and China polluted their way around and we have the right to do that. So, given our dharma and our place in the world today, and you talk about growth, India is I think, the second fastest growing country in the world. We cannot say that we will pollute our way through or do it in a not a sustainable manner. So I think all these principles come into play on how we can sustainably grow, considering our limitations and our kind of challenges we have in agriculture, and the kind of poor population we have in the country. We cannot say no to fossil fuels, but at the same time, how we do it is a matter of importance that we have to do. Like you said, like Sridhar sir told that yes, we need to do individual actions, but individual actions is a bit of that, right? You see, major emissions today come from steel and cement, right? These are very big problems which we need to tackle. So I think Swami has given a lot of solutions. I think it's just that people have to discover. And if you go back to history, you see sun or mountains, all this was respected and revered like gods. People
Yes.
made fun of them, but that's not true. Like even in the Gita, Krishna says that these lessons in Gita were first given to Surya Devata, right? So I think that reverence for nature has totally gone off, at least in urban India, which we need to really bring back, in order to understand that we are part of the same, what do you say, same prakriti, and
Yeah.
work on that, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Saira.
So we are craving like Prakriti and Paramatma together. So how to understand it better? It's like values along with expectations from from benefits from nature, or how to understand that concept. Not just one alone. Sridhar sir, any thoughts on this?
Sorry, I am a bit lost. Can you come again?
Yeah, Swami says that no, if you just crave Prakriti just like Ravana, you would perish. You need to crave for both. So what exactly, how can we put that into? Is it like we need to have the values along with the benefits that we take from nature?
Firstly, on ground level, I would say there are two things, as you very beautifully elucidated. There is prayatna and prarthana, our effort and God's grace together. Many times we see people in the material world full of success, and that metrics on which we see is rather short-sighted. While they have achieved many things in terms of intellect or economic achievement, their family bonding, their ability to bring their family up as one unit, all this gets lost. A huge price is paid for achieving something. This is again a natural illustration, what I am saying. Unless God's grace is there, you won't be able to handle your success. It not be a case of failure, pain, faults, etc., etc. That's a negative perspective. Even when you have success coming your way, how can you handle it with maturity is extremely important. That is where God's grace, without God's grace is like the sweetener in the milk, and it takes you to a different level of experience. And you get what is called the contentment. You know where to draw a line. Ravana was more learned than Rama himself, which is acknowledged in the spiritual scriptures as well as by Swami. Yet, his greed, you had also said, there is everything which humanity needs, but there is not enough for even one man's greed, something like that you said.
Correct.
It's very
I have heard
profound.
this question. Yeah.
So it is just that, again, God's grace, I think, is extremely important. That is what happens. See, also the example which you gave of why Swami prescribed bhajans and nagar sankirtans to spread the vibration in the air, because everything comes back as reflection, resound, reaction.
Correct. The pollution that we do in, yeah, it comes back.
What you sow, so you reap. As your thoughts, so are your results. And if we can include divinity as a central focus in everything we do, I am more than doubly sure that God's grace is available in plenty. Actually, Swami is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient Lord, waiting to give us everything we want. It is our mind which shuts the doors or shuts the light from coming in. So yes, the divine grace has to be earned. It is a spiritual bank balance. And when spiritual bank balance improves, you know how to handle your success, growth, sustenance, etc.
Yeah.
A very material success is not success for me. For me, ability to enjoy it with the community as a whole is very joyful experience, rather than just being successful for sake of that worldly metrics. Ram.
Silence. Brother, regarding unity of thought, word, and deed, I would just like to ask. Sometimes, most of the times, we will not be able to know in a position to say what we actually think. So, what we should do that time? Swami always insists on whatever you think, you need to speak, and the same thing you need to do. But in the world, it is very tough. Whatever I think, probably I will not be able to say. How to have always know how to practice that in various situations. Maybe at work, especially workplace, we cannot have that. Any thoughts on this, brother Parikshit? How to practice it in our own way?
Yes. So, what comes to my mind is what Swami always said, that Satyam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat, Na Bruyat, Satyam Apriyam. So, I think when we say about Trikarna Shuddhi and these concepts of word and deed, first, it starts with unity, right? Before in purity. First, what you're saying is about unity, right? So unity, purity, divinity, that's, I think, how Swami generally speaks in that sequence. So when we say unity, yes, what I think I should speak, what I should speak, I should do. But what in the external world, yes, at a workplace, obviously you cannot just speak your mind out. I think internally also, right? See, for example, let's take an example here. Like I see something which somebody is not performing well. Now, obviously, I need to communicate that, but Swami always, and in Balvikas, we have been taught this from day one that if you can't oblige, at least speak obligingly. So the point here being that, yes, I have a thought that this person is not performing well. Now I need to communicate that thought. Now, the way I communicate matters a lot. So if I'm a very narcissist or a kind of a very authoritative boss, I would like tell it in a very rude way, which may hurt the feelings of the person, and it may only um, it will only deteriorate, right? What I want to improve. So when we say unity and the purity, I think the communication part, that is the thought and the word, should be in sync. Definitely, I cannot say that you're doing very well despite my thought or my mind saying that he has not been doing well, right?
Hmm.
And the third part being deed, which is your actions, you need to walk the talk. So in this famous book, I think the defense person, right? Mahavakyas in Leadership, um, Dr. Chibir, I think, Chibir. In that, Swami has told him that first, before you tell, you be, to do, and to tell. So that's the way. So though we tell thought, word, and deed, it is the opposite in external world.
Correct.
First, you need to show the deed, then talk about it, and then kind of to be and yeah, then communicate last. Communication and talking, preaching comes last, right? So if we are walking the talk and actually practicing what we believe internally, that is at the thought, I think the unity and purity will manifest automatically, and we can handle these interpersonal conflicts or these kind of aberrations easily. That is in my understanding. Yeah, Sairam.
Sorry, brother. Sridhar sir, how do you practice this? What are the obstacles that you may? Yeah, obstacles all of us face, but how easy for you to practice it? Maybe at home or maybe at workplace, or especially in your profession.
It's my profession is not as bad as it is made out to be.
Okay.
Uh, um, in fact, it's all about your own orientation and what you are from inside. The will to be what you want to be is the first thing. Nurturing and culturing thoughts also have to start from very young. That is perhaps the reason why Swami evolved the Balavikas and other things. As we think, the way of thinking also. For example, being a defeatist or an optimist, or yes, I fully endorse what Parikshit says. Also, it matters the tone and tenor with which we say. We may say speak the truth. What is you thought and your word should also be the same, but it should not hurt somebody, is it not? The very purpose of our living is to create a harmony among others. That is what Ananda and bliss is about, as distinct and different from pleasures. And if that only when you have internal harmony can you extend external harmony. And this internal harmony happens with practice. And in the sense that, for example, You talked about my profession. It's so very difficult for situations we get. We have to express our professional opinion, and our professional opinion is based on application of our knowledge and skill sets, and it is not some whimsical thought. And when we put our professional opinion on record, it would hurt somebody for sure, because when I speak truth, I have to bring the truth. That is why the society relies on my opinion as an auditor and an audit report and an audit opinion. And if I mislead them by a wrong declaration or a misstatement, it's a sin, I would say. So we always I've learned the very, very hard way to say a no for a no when it should be said no. Even at home, children, when we handle, there are times when we have to be very firm and say a no for a no. Otherwise, we allow the child to indulge and get into wrong direction. In the name of love or in the name of affection or attachment, when you yield to the child unnecessarily without being firm, you degenerate in values. This can happen at workplace, it can happen at home. You can't get something different than what you give. In my experiences, I have been following Swami's teachings as much as I can, not that but then I realized that you attract similar people when you are honest, transparent, God-fearing, and outreaching to help. You get very similar people in terms of friends, clients, peers, and whatnot. That is perhaps what it is meant. You seek and you get. And if you seek, that is the reason why satsangs have been emphasized so much. So, thought, word, and deed is a culturing process. It starts very young, and we need to necessarily be aware and conscious. Every time we have to perfect it. It's a challenge for sure. But that is what turns you into a very deep personality from inside. It's not about the world recognizing you or acknowledging you or anything like that. To yourself, will you tick all the boxes and say you're good enough to go? Is what matters. So it is absolutely internal harmony which matters. And there is nobody seeing you. There is no judgment from outside. It is only you and your Antaryami Sai. And if you answer that conscience well, you will be able to learn on the go, plate as it comes, be in the present, and just try this. It works. You want to be honest, you can be honest, is what I want to say. Sairam.
Beautiful, sir. It's wonderful. Any more thoughts? Any other? Madam, sir? Someone, I don't have the name there. Anything you would like to say, Madam Brother? It has been wonderful evening. So once again, I wish you all a very happy Navaratri and Dashara. May all these 9 days shower lots of joy and grace of Swami in every walk of our lives. Tomorrow we are starting this Navaratri Narayan Seva for these days, starting from tomorrow till Vijayadashami. So it has been wonderful from past 2-3 years when we are doing. Of course, due to COVID, we could not do. Last year we could do because of His grace, and every time we had a joy in doing this. So for anyone, of course, Siddhar sir, I need not say, he would be first to take part in that. So in any way, Parikshit brother, if possible, try to make it any day, whenever it's possible for any of the days.
Sure, Suman. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you all. I'll close this session with Asatoma. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai. Sairam, Sairam. Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Sairam.
Thank you so much, Sai.
Thank you, brother.